Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. First things first, on the 4th of September, Vitalik Buterin, who is the co-founder of Ethereum, said that Bitcoin and Ethereum blockchains suck. In a reply to Joseph Lopp, who is a cypherpunk, Joseph Lopp said on Twitter, fascinating that Vitalik Buterin agrees with Jeremy Rubin that the value of Ethereum will trend towards zero unless changes are made to the protocol, end quote. To which the co-founder of Ethereum said, I think I've been pretty consistent about my view that every present day existing blockchain, including Ethereum and Bitcoin, suck, and proof of stake is necessary. Not sure why anyone is surprised, end quote. This is a continuation of the series of the statements made by the core developer Jeremy Rubin, a Bitcoin Core contributor and the co-founder of the MIT Digital Currency Initiative on TechCrunch. Jeremy remarked that the collapse of Ethereum is inevitable. He has predicted that the value of Ethereum will reach zero. This was followed by Vitalik speaking on the topic on Reddit. Vitalik claimed that the article had missed out on a critical detail on the economic and technical terms. The author had stated that sometimes the term economic abstraction in the Ethereum community refers to paying for gas with a non-Ethereum token from the transaction of a token based on the Ethereum platform, instead of paying for gas in Ethereum. To which Vitalik said that in the current state of Ethereum, this statement is absolutely true. He further added that if there is no change in Ethereum, all the statements made by the author, including Ethereum collapsing to zero, would become true. In addition, he said that the Ethereum community is considering two proposals which focus on the importance of pay Ether at a protocol level. However, he does not agree with the statement made by the author of the topic of proof of stake. Jeremy said, and I quote, "Without Ethereum, a modified version of proof of stake with a multitude of assets could still decide consensus if each node selects a weight vector for the voting proof of all assets. Let's call it HDPOS or heterogeneous deposit proof of stake." He further added, while it is an open research question to show under which conditions HDPOS would maintain consensus, consensus may be possible if the weight vectors are similar enough. Vitalik then said, except the part about proof of stake, which would not even apply to Ethereum as it is today. Vitalik added that he looked into HDPOS back in 2014, that is 4 years ago, and that it is very difficult, probably impossible to get it right. So we spoke about the article that actually happened where the person was talking about that Ethereum was going to zero. The weird part is that Vitalik agreed with him. I hope that Ethereum makes it. I hope that they continue. I think or wish that they are on the cusp of announcements or something like that. I'm still expecting September more than, you know, crazy things could happen in October as well. But we have DevCon coming up, and this is mainly an Ethereum event, if I'm not mistaken. So everyone's hoping that they release some type of information, because even I believe Raiden was also activated on Ethereum, if I'm not mistaken. The Raiden team said that they planned on adding Raiden at the end of summer. They said the last day of August is also the end of summer, so this was kind of the thing. You rarely ever hear about Raiden, which is supposed to also quicken or speed up the Ethereum network. As it is right now, it is kind of just as sad as this actual flower in that photo there. I'm sure they all desperately understand exactly what's going on, especially with the prices of cryptocurrencies constantly going down. But as of now, this is probably why. I'm pretty sure these talks have been going on for quite some time, and I can only assume that the other creators of the other cryptocurrencies are probably well aware of these discussions as well. And this is probably why we have about 8 other coins who are all announcing that they are going to be the #2 coin, or that they're coming for Ethereum spot, or that they're quicker than Ethereum or better than Ethereum, because Ethereum is at risk of slowly disappearing into the background. And I think they really need to do something very quick, because I know they have a lot of huge backers. And when the big money kind of moves away because they see that nothing is really happening to your project, that could be extremely detrimental. But I can only assume or hope that the Ethereum and even Omisego team is definitely working in the background, trying to get something pushed out at least before the end of 2018 or maybe the first day of 2019. I think that's just very, very, very wishful thinking on my part. Next up, swinging over to Europe, members of the European Parliament held a meeting on Tuesday to discuss a proposal that, if approved, would create new regulations on ICOs held within the economic bloc. The all-party innovation group within the EU Parliament met to examine the potential benefits and issues with rules for ICOs that would form part of a wider crowdfunding framework. As CoinDesk previously reported, the proposal was written by Ashley Fox, a member of the European Parliament, or the MEP. Fox called for an €8 million cap on token sales proceeds, as well as know your customer anti-money laundering requirements. This is actually quite interesting. Most countries have either banned ICOs or they have not really issued a cap at all. And I think there was a proposal, I think, from someone in the States as well about a proposal on how much money you can make from an ICO. So I guess in Europe, it is probably going to end up being around $8 million euros, which comes around, it has to be like $9 million US. I mean, realistically, when you listen to people on podcasts who talk about creating their own ICO or their own startup, a lot of them are saying that they're usually perplexed and can't understand why many ICOs are raising like 80, 90, $100 million when you really only need about maybe $500,000 to create an app or even a blockchain. It's a lot cheaper than it was many years ago. So 8 million seems like a relatively okay cap. If you can't get a 20-person team together and make a blockchain after a year with 8 million, then you probably shouldn't be making an ICO. Perhaps more significantly, if the regulations are adopted by the European Parliament, it could create a standard for token sales, allowing projects to raise funds and conduct businesses in any of the 28 member nations. They said, be assured that as legislators, we're trying to make ICOs more possible and more successful. That certainly is our objective, end quote. France Digital Manager Director Nicolas Brian said during the meeting that there is an emergency to act to create such a standard, explaining that the market wants legitimization from every jurisdiction. In the UK, it's particularly bad. None of the banks will bank you if you have crypto, end quote, which is a shame. And it's so bad that it's actually coming to this. We even saw this at the beginning of the year when you know that you are a problem to someone else when they won't even talk to you or even offer you a bank account. The moment that a lot of companies and crypto companies and startups and ICOs went to the bank, opened a bank account. What is the bank account for? And they said, we are dealing in crypto. They were completely turned away, but it wasn't even like it was just from one bank. It was from about 25 different banks over the course of a couple of weeks. And then a lot of ICOs had to completely stop, and a lot of crypto projects had to simply move on to another continent, which is actually kind of sad. But I mean, we've spoken about the traditional financial institutions being threatened or feeling threatened by cryptocurrencies. Brian went on to explain, and I quote, having the certainty, but also having that legitimization, I actually welcome having a European-wide proposal because it gives people the certainty to know. I think we need to be clear whether this is a utility token or a transferable security, or how the regulator regime looks at that. But I think this could be done because an ICO is another form of crowdfunding. It's different, but it is a form of crowdfunding, end quote. And this leads me into the topic once again of, as ICOs are slowly dying because a lot of people are getting away from it, because not even the legitimacy factor, it's the fact that you actually have to now register with. The problem is that when the internet was first started, the internet was thought to be, or that it was going to be in the future where we are right now, this kind of open source, beautiful, wonderful land where no one really owned anything and you can do as you wished when you wanted. You could find your friends, you could find other people who you connected with, and you could kind of build the internet in any direction that you wanted. But the way that it works now is that everything is controlled. Everything is anything that you want to make on your own free time. If you plan on transferring money back and forth, or something that is deemed as money or that has value between people back and forth, the government has to know about it. So this is why we've also had news that security token offerings are becoming the brand new thing, because you can just go directly through the government and there's no flip-flop as to it, as what the rules are. And also a lot of people also starting to do the airdrops. This is why we've been talking about a lot of the airdrops with EOS, simply because it is a lot easier, even though that is still in a gray area, because governments have never dealt with a situation where a company or an entity or anyone is potentially unloading millions of dollars across 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 people at the exact same time. That is also something that they're probably going to have a very hard time finding rules for. But as of now, this is kind of where we are in the cryptocurrency space. I know people don't care for regulations. I don't 100% think they are necessary in every single aspect. But if they are going to happen, then I am glad that we have countries, the EU, coming together saying that they're not trying to hamper it, but trying to push it forward and make sure that everyone is kind of just following the rules. I much prefer that than them saying, no, these things are dangerous, we're going to ban all of them. Everyone run for your lives, that type of situation. Next up, I thought this one was incredibly interesting. We've spoken before about loans and cryptocurrency loans. And before, months ago, we were talking about the crypto token SALT. And then we spoke about it about a month ago as well, when they were actually back in the news because the CEO had left and someone else was trying to take his mantle. And it pretty much came down to the fact that during a crypto recession, bear market, whatever you want to call it, no one is really honestly looking to take out loans. People only take out loans and stuff like that when the crypto market is doing very well. But this is actually a project that is actually or has actually launched. And I'm going to just kind of, you'll see. Here's something you don't see every day. An ICO that has actually led to a shipped working financial product. Revealed exclusively to CoinDesk, Argentinian startup Ripio is making peer-to-peer microloans available today to all its 200,000 Bitcoin wallet users in Argentina, Mexico, and Brazil. The Buenos Aires-based company raised $37 million in an ICO last year to build the Ripio credit network, which matches individual lenders and borrowers across the globe through Ethereum smart contracts. It's another one of the ICOs that raise a lot of money, but they're actually ones that seem to be or have done something with it. Today's full rollout of the marketplace follows a closed beta in which more than 800 loans were facilitated to customers in Argentina. Ripio said it now has 3,000 lenders on the network, many of them located in Asia, including loans up to $730. Though the average loan is around 146 US dollars. The CEO of Ripio, his name is Sebastian Serrano, he told CoinDesk, and I quote, "We have people from Asia funding people in South America, which is something you cannot do with another app," end quote. Previously known as Bitpagos, Ripio is one of the longest running startups in the crypto space with well-established merchant processing, exchange, and wallet services. It entered the credit business in 2016, lending its own funds to consumers in Argentina before pursuing this more ambitious vision for P2P lending. I decided to talk about this, or really mention it, simply because I like that they are targeting Central America and South America, and I have no real information on them. I've never really heard of Ripio before. I hope that they actually manage to spread out a bit more. There's a issue happening in South America right now where there are a lot of countries who are going through economic hardships, and I hope that cryptocurrency projects continue to target these countries, not so much for them, needing loans and stuff like that. I mean, even though this could potentially help someone in a dire situation in one of these countries, not these countries, but the other South American countries. But in general, I like things like this. I like when projects open up in other continents, because we typically only hear about the US or in Europe. We never really even hear about a lot of stuff from Canada or South America, definitely barely ever from Africa, which is a complete shame because they are a market that is completely ready to absorb crypto. On a side note, this is also not a paid advertisement. I don't know Ripio. I was not contacted by them, not being paid by them. I just love news like this, and I hope that cryptocurrency continues to spread in other parts of the world, because I think things like this are very important for the growth of the cryptocurrency space, especially when we had news a couple of days ago that people in Venezuela are buying as much Bitcoin and Dash as they possibly can. So I hope this trend only kind of continues. Next up, the Philippines Security and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, recently indicated that cryptocurrency exchanges may be regulated as trading platforms, according to a September 3rd report from the Manila Times. SEC Commissioner Efrios Luis Amatong told the publication that the commission expects draft rules to be released by the end of next week. In preparing these guidelines, the SEC is reviewing the cryptocurrency exchange regulations that exist in Australia and Switzerland as potential templates, which would be wonderful because Switzerland has been very, very kind to the cryptocurrency world. The SEC noted that it will release the final version of its ICO rules next week as well. ETH News reported earlier last month that the commission had issued a draft outlining such regulations, stipulating that an entity wanting to hold an ICO must file an initial assessment required or request so that the SEC can determine whether the coin to be issued is a security or not. The issuer would then have to register as a corporation in the Philippines, while coin issuers, principally located abroad, would need to establish a Philippine branch. This is very good news. I'm glad that they're taking, potentially, hopefully taking a cue from, I think Australia is pretty okay with crypto. I haven't heard anything really negative. We never really hear about Australia in the news, but I think there's like a couple of exchanges and stuff like that opening there, so nothing really negative has been coming from there. But this is very great news. This is supposed to be the time when all of the countries come together and they tell us what their rules are and what is supposed to be happening in the cryptocurrency space. And I think there's 3 other countries who are also supposed to be coming forward. If I'm not mistaken, India is supposed to be on the 30th of September. I feel like that's correct. I feel like that's the news that we had like 2 months ago when they said they were going to give rules, and then that completely fell apart. Let's hope that everything works out. As of now, September has already started as a weird, rocky month. Let's hope that we get the finalization that we need, that all these countries kind of come together and just spill the beans already. I told you guys before, I am of the mindset, me, myself, what I think. All of these things were known for months. I don't know what took them so long to kind of get it together, especially when they really just planned on labeling ICOs as securities in the first place, and they already had their own security laws. Maybe they were just looking deeper into it. Maybe I'm just impatient when it comes to what I want to happen in the cryptocurrency space. Last up, for those who are unaware, Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market has experienced not even a bit of a flash crash. It fell down. The cryptocurrency market started off bullish this month, but it seems like the good days of a bearish nature were here to stay for a longer time. Bitcoin flash dropped within 30 minutes in the market and reached below 6,900 on several exchanges. Bitcoin lost around $500 in under 5 minutes. According to CoinMarketCap at the time of writing, Bitcoin was trading at 6,985. As of now, it says over here that it's 7,300, so they managed to drag themselves above 7,000 again. The market speculates that the reason for this could be the recent movements of the Bitcoin wallet, which is reportedly connected to Silk Road accounts. For those who do not know, Silk Road, a couple of years ago, this was, so we had Mt. Gox was the first bad thing that really happened to the cryptocurrency space. And then we had something called Silk Road that was actually made by the same people who knew the people who made Mt. Gox, if you didn't know that. Like I say, they all know each other. Pretty much Silk Road was a place where you could buy anything that is illegal in your country. I'm sure about 5 things popped into your head. You were able to buy them on Silk Road, and the problem with that is that people were paying in Bitcoin. Government said that they couldn't figure out what was going on. If you are buying and selling anything in your country, you're supposed to be registered, and these people were definitely not registered, especially because they were selling really anything that was illegal, like as far as your mind can think, and not even just like drugs. I mean like anything you can possibly think of. I never used Silk Road. I've read things about it. Believe me, I'm not trying to get tangled up in anything like that. But this is the problem, that one of the wallets that was connected to Silk Road, which apparently had a lot of Bitcoin, I'll just continue reading, you'll get all of it. Recently, a Reddit user spotted that almost $1 billion worth of Bitcoin was on the move. These coins were transferred to Bitfinex, Binance, and BitMEX. Over the last 10 days, the wallet holder had transferred 11,000 Bitcoin to Bitfinex, one of the leading exchanges in the platforms in the exchange in the world, whatever, and 4,400 Bitcoin was transferred to Binance, and 210 Bitcoin were sent to BitMEX, the top mercantile exchange platform. In addition, earlier today, Bitcoin was trading at a high of around $24,000 in one of the cryptocurrency exchanges, as the Iranian government legalized cryptocurrency mining within the country. Pretty much, whenever anything like this ends up happening, people end up panicking. People never know. I mean, when you talk about how much crypto certain people hold, or how much crypto a lot of people have, or very small amounts of people, how much crypto they have, a lot of people seem to be okay with this, but the moment any of this crypto is moved, even if it's not going to be sold or anything like that, people completely lose their minds. We've had moments like this before where the Mt. Gox wallets were just moving crypto back and forth. Bitcoin was falling around 15%. This will probably not be resolved for a very long time. This isn't the only organization and or whatever you want to call it that has this much Bitcoin. I think a lot of people don't realize that there are a lot of major people in the world who are definitely holding over 11,000 Bitcoin, and they can move them at any point. Typically, the idea or the mindset is, and this is kind of what I've got from it, what I've been reading over the last couple of 9 months, is people think that any account that has this much Bitcoin that hasn't moved in around a year is going to stay there forever. No one's touching it. They're waiting for this magical moment where Bitcoin hits $1 million, and that's when the funds will start to move. But anytime before that, anything that's happening in the cryptocurrency space right now, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, where anything is moved, something that people perceive as negative ends up happening, causes a huge drop in the cryptocurrency prices. It's actually a shame. This is kind of where we are right now with the cryptocurrency prices. Everything else, people were noting it's interesting how not that people see what they want to see, but what people see before they see anything else. People were commenting on my last two videos, one of the videos that I made very recently, about how XRP was completely crashing. The end of XRP was here, and then other people were like, you realize the entire market is actually crashing, right? Like I said, people want to see what they want to see. They want negative things to happen to things that they don't like, care for, whatever you kind of want to say. But as of now, this is where we are. This is the market. Sorry to be the bearer of bad crypto news, but we've had days like this many times before. If you can kind of tell, there's like already a little dip. Hopefully people are starting to get back into the swing of things. I don't know exactly what people really need. Interesting that Dogecoin didn't even get touched. Oh, also, this is a pump and dump. Be aware. It's this one, and it's Bitcoin Diamond. And let me see if I can find the other one. It was like Bitcoin Dark, I think it was, or Dark Bitcoin. We're gonna find it. Going to keep scrolling down. Almost there. Unless it's crashed already. Nope, not there. I think it's already gone. It was definitely above Bitcoin Private a day or two ago, and people were remarking how it had shot up like 300% out of nowhere, and then lo and behold, it's completely gone once again. And people think that the exact same thing is happening right now with Bitcoin Diamond, as they haven't been in the news. No one's ever talking about it, but the volume on it is kind of disgusting. No one knows exactly what's going on. I'm pretty sure we'll have news in about a day or two about the mysteries of Bitcoin Dark and or Bitcoin Diamond and why they have exploded in value when nobody was touching them for a very long time. All right, everyone, that is definitely going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening. I know the prices are down. Don't let that get you down. Go outside, go have fun, enjoy the sun if you have sun wherever you are. Hope you guys had a great day. Thank you once again for all the support. I do appreciate it, and I will talk to you all soon. See you.